Thank you for joining us on the MBN TV. I'll bring you the mega news focus. All the latest stories in Ghana and beyond. Today, the 17th day of March 2026, the year of our Lord. My name is El Samuels, your regular host, with you from now to 10 p.m. For starters, let's go straight away and look at some of the snipe of stories. We start from the security recruitment, where the President, John Dramani Mahama, has directed a significant expansion in the recruitment of personnel for Ghana Security Services with a target of 40,000 recruits over the next 4 years. And Dominic Nitiwul is not excited about this. We'll bring you some slides. Meanwhile, kidney disease is emerging as a major public health challenge in Ghana, particularly among young people, according to the Health Minister, Kobna Minta Akando. The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has scheduled maintenance exercise which will temporarily disrupt power supply to some communities in the Volta, Ashanti, Accra East, Accra West, and Central regions. A Ghanaian soldier, Lance Corporal Albert Abrefa Buzia, who was injured in a missile attack on a UN peacekeeping base in Lebanon, is recovering after surgery. A tripartite committee the government has set up to oversee preparation for the 2026 National Labour Conference, which will focus on issues such as Ghana's economic outlook and other labor relations matters. This is some of the stories for tonight, where we'll dive into more of the stories. Meanwhile, in other matters, right after this, we bring you our first insert. And our first one is coming from Ghana's former Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwul, has stated that the country has no security arrangement with the US of A that allows for a foreign military strike from its territory. This comes after the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, reportedly suggested Ghana collaborated with the US in airstrikes against ISIS targets in Nigeria in December 25th, 2025. Nitiwul emphasized that any such agreement would require explicit permission from the Ghanaian government and parliamentary approval. He warned that Ablakwa's disclosure could put Ghanaian citizens at risk as a retaliatory terrorism. The minority in parliament is demanding clarification from the government on the alleged collaboration and has called for Ablakwa to brief parliament on this. Let's take a watch and listen to the man, Dominic Nitiwul.
Let me state that Ghana has had the privilege to, and America has also had the privilege of signing agreements with Ghana in 1998, 2002, 2015, and all these agreements were put together in a document called Defense Cooperation Agreement, the Status of the United States Forces, in 2018, and I signed it on behalf of Ghana. In all these agreements, at no point was the United States or any other country allowed to use the territory of Ghana as a launch pad to attack any individual, any nation, any group of person, or any organization. In fact, for the United States to even bring armed military aircraft, you will need the permission of Ghana. For them to launch any attack, you will need the express permission of the government of Ghana, particularly the president. Unless the foreign minister is telling us that there is another agreement that has been signed between 7th of January 2025 and now, what he has disclosed to the world poses a serious risk to you, the citizens of Ghana, and to Ghana as a whole. We all want to help fight the terrorists. We all want to quench it. And we partner with various countries, including the United States. But no government should be allowed to ask a foreign country without a formal agreement to use our territory to bomb, attack, or kill anybody without our permission. And the foreign minister needs to immediately brief the people of Ghana through parliament.
Former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul speaking to the press on security matters. Away from the security matters, CLOSAG, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, has suspended its nationwide strike, giving the government 14 days ultimatum to resolve pay disputes. Ghana's wage bill consumes 44% of tax revenue, forcing government to borrow to pay salaries, according to the finance minister. In sports, the Ghana Football Association Communications Director says they want to make the World Cup. Away from that story, let's go straight to other story and still boil down on a CLOSAG issue. And that takes us to the CLOSAG, where CLOSAG has agreed to suspend its nationwide strike, giving the government 14 days ultimatum to come up with an amicable solution to the issues with the salary structure and also conditions of service for its members. The strike, which began on March 9th, 2026, was called off after government appeal for work on the matter. Members are expected to report back to work on March 24th, 2026. The decision to suspend the strike was made by CLOSAG National Executive Committee after reviewing the government a request for more time to address the concerns raised by the union. Government has been urged to use a 14-day period to come up with a resolution, failing which the strike may be reinstated. The follow-up question is that, so now let's go to listen to the Executive Secretary of CLOSAG.
Suspension of strike action by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana CLOSAG. The National Executive Committee (EXECO) of Civil and Local Government Staff Association, Ghana CLOSAG, on 17th March 2026, reviewed the appeal by government to call off the nationwide strike action and allow government 14 days to come to an amicable resolution of the issues with the salary structure and conditions of service of members of CLOSAG. EXECO therefore has suspended the nationwide strike. All members of CLOSAG are to report to work by Tuesday, 24th March 2026. Thank you.
As that was the Executive Secretary, where CLOSAG has suspended a strike. The former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul questioned the government security recruitment plan, asking why 20,000 personnel are needed now if 10,000 was sufficient earlier. A helicopter crash in Tema has claimed 2 lives with investigation underway. Ghana's economic wage consumes 44% of tax, forcing government to borrow to pay salaries, according to the finance minister. Away from that story, let's go straight away to look at the other stories that has come up. The issue that really bothers me has to do with the kidney issue, where the minister, Konaminta Akando, has warned that kidney disease is growing public health challenge in Ghana, particularly among young people. And that will take us to a different story for tonight, where you can also share your thoughts with us on the numbers on your screen. 053-715-8638. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us here live and direct from our studios located on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estates. The former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul is questioning the government decision to initially recruit 10,000 security personnel when they now have the capacity to recruit 20,000. He suggested that the initial limitation was due to negotiation with the International Monetary Fund (IMF), implying that government has previously cited financial constraint as a reason for limited intake, which led to no longer the case. The president has directed the security agencies to increase the recruitment from 20,000 to 40,000 personnel over the next 4 years, citing the need to strengthen national security and address youth unemployment. Nitiwul's comment highlights concerns about transparency and accountability in the recruitment process, which some argue that government should prioritize merit-based recruitment and address the needs of security agencies. We're going to take a listen and watch the former Defense Minister, Honorable Dominic Nitiwul.
In principle, we agree with what the president has done to double the numbers. For every other person who gets a job as a young person, we are all for it. We think that the numbers could have been bigger. We also think that the president and the government should have done this earlier if there was an opportunity, because if today they could recruit 20,000, why did they decide to recruit 10,000 at the beginning and use IMF as the excuse? So it always seems to me that what is happening is an afterthought. But all the same, we welcome it. We think that it's something that the youth, which will benefit the youth, and we are all for it. And if there is an opportunity to even add the numbers, I will urge the president to add the numbers and the government to add the numbers to it.
So you hear the voice of the former Defense Minister, Dominic Nitiwul, sharing with the media, telling exactly what he feels about it. And I will look forward to government asking that 40,000 should be increased, meaning that this time around, the increase will be 10,000 yearly, not the 5,000, which we would have done 4 years will give us 20,000. Currently, we need to do 10,000, so the 4 years will give us 40,000 personnel being recruited, drafted into the Ghana Security Service. Now let's chance on and do some other stories. And remember, the numbers on your screen is the WhatsApp and SMS you can send. Finance Minister has confirmed the start of the public sector recruitment despite high wage bill. The Finance Minister, Dr. Kesselatoe Forson, has announced that the administration has commenced processes for the recruitment of staff into the public service. This despite revealing that the government was forced to borrow 17 billion cedis to pay salaries in 2025. Addressing the dialogue with the President John Dramani Mahama on today, March 17, Dr. Forson confirmed the recruitment push is part of a government broader agreement with organized labor aimed at fulfilling commitment to boost staffing levels across various state agencies. And that is coming from the Finance Minister. Every Ghanaian worker must retire with dignity and pension system, according to the President John Dramani Mahama. One of the stories that is gaining some momentum throughout the day. Now let's look at the economy, where Mark Bedu Abuaji, the CEO of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GNCCI, has stated that implementing a 24-hour economy alone won't resolve Ghana's harsh business environment. He emphasized that government needs to address the underlying issues such as high energy costs, limited access to credit, and also macroeconomic instability to make the policy effective. Bedu Abuaje noted that Ghana's electricity prices are among the highest in the region, ranging from 12 to 15 cents per kilowatt, making it challenging for local businesses to compete. He also pointed out that the Bank of Ghana's high policy rate of 28% leads to the commercial lending rate above 30%, further hindering businesses to grow. The GNCCI CEO stressed that the 24-hour economy policy should focus on enhancing export competitiveness and creating an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. He urged policymakers to ensure that macroeconomic stability translates into lower lending rates, reduce utility costs, and also improve access to credit. Let's take a listen to the CEO of GNCCI, Bedu Abuaje.
Launching a 24-hour economy will not change the harsh business environment that we are facing now. So the first point for me is to look at how we can improve the business. Having inflation down to 13.7 is a necessary condition, but not sufficient to change the structure of the economy. We want to see how inflation, the lower inflation, will reduce the cost of credit. We want to see how the lower inflation will reduce the cost of utility, electricity, and water. These are key components when it comes to manufacturing. In Ghana, the cost per kilowatt hour for a manufacturing company ranging from 12 to 15 is among the highest. Kilowatt hour for them is less than 5 cents. So if you really want to manufacture more, we need to bring down the cost of utility and then that of cost of credit. If you have a policy rate of 28%, of course your interest rate will be around 30 and over. No company who would want to manufacture and export will be competitive under this condition. You are borrowing at 35, you are paying high utility tariffs, and then you think that your product, when it gets to the market outside, people will buy. The 24-hour economy is not only for local consumption. If it's for local consumption, then we don't need 24-hour economy because we can produce more to feed ourselves. We want to export. That is why the accelerated export is a component of the 24-hour economy. But when you send your product outside, people will not buy it because it's coming from Ghana, because you have launched a 24-hour economy. They will buy your product because, one, is competitive. Yeah. Two, is of high quality. So when it gets there, you are going to compare your product with a product coming from probably people within after, let's say, from North Africa. Their cost of production is very low. So you produce and you send it there and you won't get people to buy because it's very expensive. Let's look at how the improvement we are seeing now, the lower inflation, the cedi appreciation will now impact on the policy rate.
So that's the voice of the CEO of GNCCI, Mark Bedu Abuaje, talking about why 1D, 1F could have solved the issue of unemployment if the previous administration were able to implement the brilliant, the fantastic, that wonderful policy. Ghana has got a penchant of drafting beautiful policies, but difficulty in implementing those policies. And Bedu believe that if we have been able, if we were able, if the NPP were able to have been implement the 1D, 1F, I think the unemployment levels would have come down. And he's praying that the 24-hour economy shouldn't be a rhetoric. But this 1D, 1F matter, will it ever leave us? Brilliant idea. But Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the minority leader in parliament, has criticized the NDC government implementation of the 24-hour economic policy, stating it is more of a campaign slogan than a real policy. He argues that the government should have built upon the One District, One Factory, 1D1F initiative, which supported private sector growth through tax incentives. Afenyo Markins claimed that 1D1F created 170,000 jobs across 142 districts and promoted decentralized industrialization. He urged the NDC to reconsider abandoning the 1D1F, citing its potential for driving economic growth and job creation. The NDC government has cancelled the 1D1F, citing poor implementation and diversion of resources, but hasn't introduced a comprehensive alternative policy framework. Let's take a listen to the Osahin and the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo Markins.
Simply put, I think that some extremists in this NDC government are not helping President Mahama to leave a legacy. You see, it's not easy to get a second chance. And I keep telling my friends in the NDC that, look, help the president to leave a name, a good name. But it appears as our friends are so hooked on to politics that every now and then they forget themselves. Already 1 year is gone. Listen, let's face it. What are the tangibles in terms of policy implementation? What have they achieved? They came, they said they were going to do women banking so that there will be banks in various districts to help women get loans to do business. They said this. Year 1, 0. Year 2, the money that they provided for in the budget can only be an amount to meet the minimum requirement to set up a bank. So what will become the working capital? And what budget have they made for the infrastructure in the various regions and districts? So it's been 0. You could see that there was no well thought through plan on that score. Let's come to this so-called 24-hour economy. I think they themselves understood it more as a campaign slogan than a policy. From all that is happening, I saw the bill. They brought a bill and passed it that they were creating a 24-hour economy authority. Another bureaucracy? I'm sorry. You see, if the initiative is to create jobs, you look at the private sector, not government institutions. You have a Ministry of Trade. You want to give an opening to the private sector. What they should have done was to continue the Akufo-Addo 1D1F initiative. The 1D1F initiative, a very super economic policy for private sector. You relax taxation on imports, specifically meant for private sector. What you do is that once you take away the taxes, more companies get attracted to Ghana. When they come, they are able to import raw materials, machinery at a cheaper cost, and they are able to produce and sell cheaper. They are able to create employment, expand. I think that they could have looked at the 1D1F, review it in areas that they thought were the weaknesses in the policy, and continue the rolling out. Look, as we speak, there are many companies in the 1D1F zone who are stuck. They don't know their left from their right. They don't know the direction that they are to go. There is so much uncertainty in the private sector. Ask yourself, the Minister of Trade, I have so much respect for her, my own colleague Lizzie. Look, she has beautiful ideas, but I've been telling her that, Elizabeth, you are redundant because there's no clear-cut policy by the government for the private sector.
Well, so you have the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo Markins, speaking to us and also explaining his side of the 1D1F and why he believed government should have taken it upon itself to take that. You know, the previous government, the New Patriotic Party, created, according to them, created 58 factories under the 1D1F initiative, which was announced by the President Akufo-Addo in December 2019. However, the current then Trade Minister Katie Hammond reported that a total of 296 projects were at the various stages of implementation under the 1D1F program as of June 2024. Out of this, 126 factories are operational and over 160,000 jobs have been created. Additionally, the then Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, also stated in July 2024 that the government has supported 321 factories across 142 districts, creating around 170,000 jobs. Now, the factories established under the Ghana's One District, One Factory initiative are operating in various sectors, which include the agriculture processing, factories processing local crops and products, manufacturing clothing and textiles products, producing medicines and healthcare products, producing parts for various industries, component and manufacturing, paper and paper products, that's paper-based products, producing packaging solution, and also processing and manufacturing food and drinks, recycling and waste management, and manufacturing vehicle parts and components, processing wood and wood-based products. And these factories are located across 142 districts, with some districts having multiple factories. And the government has officially discontinued, the current government has officially discontinued the One District, One Factory initiative, which was launched in 2017 by the previous administration, and instead focusing on the 24-hour economy policy. The Trade and Agri-Business and Industry Minister, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari, stated that government plans to develop agro-processing parks to promote import substitution, export growth, and youth employment. The 1D1F initiative aim was to establish at least one factory in Ghana's district to stimulate local manufacturing and create jobs, although it has notable achievements such as creating around 170,000 jobs and establishing 320 factories. The current government has decided to shift its focus to a 24-hour economic policy. Some experts argue that scrapping the 1D1F initiative is a result of Ghana's political pendulum, where new government often dismantles the previous administration flagship projects. The phone line is duly activated, so these are just a piece of it. But don't forget that there's this story that came up that has to do with the NDC tax going at Edrisel, NHIA. The Member of Parliament for the New Durban South, Michael Ochebefi, has called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of the individuals involved in the closure of the National Health Insurance Authority office in Edrisel. The office was reportedly locked up by some irate youth believed to be supporters of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, who went protesting. They were protesting the appointment of a new manager. The MP described the action as unacceptable, harmful to Ghana's democratic process, and urged government to act swiftly by investigating the matter and ensuring those responsible are arrested and prosecuted. We go back to Edrisel to get to listen to the young, I don't know, but to listen to the youth there.
Mohu ya ha ye na ye eduso NDC tax force ena mo hu yo ha no kwai ena enya body so esan say na ye wo manager e wo ha health insurance manager ya promote na e de no call ba bi fufuro ye nim say NDC ejo ha ye kunkunde ena ye ba power enti definitely mpanyimfo na omudi anim a ye kunkunde no ye di bebre e be hihye politics no mo nso ahwe nkwala na omwofo ma omoye party mo adwuma no na omudi omo nso ahihye o na obi akoma to nuam na mom ye nka bi hyemu ye manager ko ye be maye nipa a oda ye nim a ofri ejo ha no ye kofa obi efri ba bi e de no abre ye wo ha seto ye operation bebre bisa ejo ha ye ni krachini ya obetima hwe health insurance ha ye obebre wa mpanyifo na omudi ye de moye kunkudi ma party no ba power no bebre wa obetima di sadwuma no na adenti na omo no bu wo ye ma omo appointment bia na ye kofa obi afiri ba bi no krom ofiri ba bi ofiri ba no health insurance wo ye mfa no ko enti ne ye de ye kasa etiawa ye ni panyi mu bia eti kasa bia de ye pen say ya ye kunkudi ma party no ba power no yem fa yem panyifo no bi hyem na se bi o yem kwala no so no omo ntwa ye di omo anyi no omo hwe e wufu yem person no kwakofa obi a wonnim ye oba obeba betena ye o party o power enso na ye ho aye mobo nti esra mo a ye kasa nyina no ye di panyin bia ni kasa bia na manager na ye de na aba no no kenya me anyi ye pe no.
All right, so that is the story for Ejiso. The MP said the government should move swiftly and ask the security to pick those miscreants. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. The phone line is duly activated. Want to pick your reactions and your thoughts on all the stories that is making headlines in the country for today. You can share your thoughts with us. Also, reach me a friend. You're treating commodity days. Nyama koso ya bobo na poso edi atremo nibi nete no mene wo ke fe wa hwihi won kwanye hia bo ba nyo twawo ni okewo agbasane mini ojon I mean dia na won so ka fe hom na won so say me ente wonka 0537158638 numbers nonti Mamento ka and then and Chibia. Yes, sorry, Jumedia. So very soon we'll be wrapping up. We've got just some few more minutes, and it's now time to get interactive with you. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
About your bitch me about TV no volume now from Israel. Aha. It's a TV no volume no call for money to drink on phone or so. Offer me when you call, please lower the volume on your TV set so we can have conversation via the phone. 0537158638 and numbers. Mamento Casasia na yen twetwen komo ne yen sorry dwumadie so and the enyumre the 17th day of March 2026, the year of our Lord. 0537. Hello, good evening.
Hello,
good evening, Miriam. 60 seconds. Would you ufrefi yanko? Oh, Ajima, I just a yanko. Mention that's it from a just so friend why in a tilt 60 seconds now call not being so abba 0537158638 and numbers. The finance minister confirms start of public sector recruitment despite huge wage bill. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, my brother. Your name, where reaching us live from? Kwame from Accra, Yanko.
Appointment now, yeah, now my and your what does it know? Or nothing that I pass in the house. Who come to your apart from Question of man, Sabo, no one has to. When you want not more director, what you have here. The appointment will be our man was yet against the media. And can be got problem here was. And like, you have the woman organized new media community. What come for and it's our family, what of far. Yamishra no challenge, no man participate, no data. But the master that what not like what no sending months that the Pia not like I find. I am very important of like what the government not good director. What got is not and or you know.
All right.
The man organizes Mr. Katimun, you know, but don't go on here.
All right. Yo. All right. Yeah, that's it. Offer 60 seconds. Menoswa na eja. You know, being so about 0537158638. AM numbers now also be to me. Afre 0537158638. AM numbers now also obefre. Na yatwetwe komo ofra 60 seconds na yako no abone tew na obi nso enya kwan aba ehwe nsem akoso enne yakwa adweso yabesia akonkran nti won so betumi de wadwenkyere aba na yenti ansa na yako akoda nyameboa china no pa so yasa betu dwumedie no so see the news focus live and direct efi Yabubuano ha ewo Great Estate 10th Avenue Extension eho ena ye newo ekasa efri eye enanyumre enti mamento nka bomme incommode na ye yenko the president John Dramani Mahama has announced there will be no full renegotiation of conditions of service across public sector. The president has announced that there will be no full renegotiation as government undertakes broader reforms to restructure the country's remuneration system. He was speaking at the Jubilee House during a dialogue with organized labor. The president said the decision is aimed at ensuring fiscal discipline whilst laying the foundation for a more sustainable pay structure. 0537158638 is the numbers. You can also join us here in tonight's focus. The president has also stated that every Ghanaian worker must retire with dignity as it signals a major review of the country's pension system. At the Jubilee House, during a dialogue with organized labor, the president warned that Ghana's pension net framework is at critical turning point. According to him, out of the estimated 10 million workers, fewer than 2 million are actively contributing to the scheme, raising concern about its long-term sustainability. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Me pachoma o TV ne volume non come from why. Hello, good evening. We didn't baby of Frefi. So offer no ma o TV no volume no akofom se na be betumi atwetwe nkomo e wo phone no so. Se na be betumi atwetwe nkomo e wo phone no so 0537158638 e numbers no offer na oni atwetwe nkomo e wo phone no so enye TV no so. Esa enya feedback no so emwa e man nkomo twetwe no enko totin. Akabe sima enombi na yasori dwumadie so ntin so betumi afre 0537158638 0537158638 aye numbers no a onso obetumi afre na yatwetwe nkomo aye enne anwumre on the news of focus. Hello, good evening. So offer na one ma utim no volume now kofoma PCR on be you efi so men person be you ntina mash tomebo atrew ne e wo se wo ye ma tomebo pa ma tomebo na meka ne e wo se wo ye it is a untie dia eba PCR be you efi so. Finance Minister Kessel Attoforsen has revealed that Ghana has to borrow 17 billion cedis to pay public sector salaries in 2025 due to high wage bill that exceeds regional threshold. He disclosed this during a dialogue with organized labor at the Jubilee House on Tuesday, March 17th, as part of ongoing consultation with key stakeholders. According to Dr. Forsen, Ghana's compensation to tax revenue ratio for 2025 was 44%, well above the ECOWAS convergence threshold of 35%. So Ghana will have to borrow to take care of the public sector. That is according to the Finance Minister, Dr. Kessel Attoforsen. 053-715-8638 numbers now. Parliament has approved allocation of 8.7 billion cedis to the District Assembly's Common Fund for 2026 fiscal year. The allocation captured in the 2026 Appropriation Act represents 5% of Ghana's projected total revenue for the year, in line with constitutional provisions. The approval amount of 8.769,707,900 marks an increase from 7.51 billion allocated to the fund in 2025. So the common fund has been got some increase. But the president believes President John Dramani has affirmed his government commitment to improving the lives of Ghanaian workers, describing the reset agenda as a practical plan aimed at fixing challenges in the economy and building a more sustainable future. Addressing Labour representative, the president stressed that the reset agenda goes beyond political messaging and reflects a clear commitment to reform and inclusive development. He noted that government focus is to address structural challenges within the economy whilst promoting policies that protect workers and improve conditions of service. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. The National Communications Authority, NCA, has disclosed that an audit of 2021-2023 SIM card registration data reveals 0 fingerprint matches when cross-checked with the National Identity Database, raising concern over the integrity of the existing records. According to the NCA, the findings forms part of ongoing preparation towards a planned SIM card re-registration exercise aimed at improving data accuracy and security. During the audit, the government made significant efforts to improve the SIM registration management by undertaking a nationwide SIM registration exercise to link each SIM card to verified identification. The Director General of NCA, Edward Hearing Chief Yanku, made the revelation during a stakeholder engagement. He explained that discrepancies were due in part of the difference is how biometric data were captured. 053-715-8638 numbers. Nchebia na may call the Vice President, Professor Nana Jenopuku Ajiman, has urged news agencies under the Office of Government Communication to prioritize accuracy and maintain high standard of credibility in their reportage. She cautioned state media outlets against publication of distorted information, stressing the need to deliver content that is factual, balanced, and free from misinformation. He was speaking during a visit to the office, a working visit to the office. The Vice President underscored the importance of providing reliable, trustworthy news, noting that the public confidence in state institutions depends largely on the integrity of the information they disseminate. 053-715-8638 numbers no Anche na meko enti ofre me a na wama o TV no bolom na akofom a na ya twetwe nkomo ewo telephone no so aha menim say ebi frɛ na ebi so complain say line no ayehye na omuntumi mbonwurem na there's a crash but keep trying ofre mbo mini phone so amefa kra emba TV no so obi ante ne awoka enti kwesi from Aplawo bomodia nefafa the bowrem obetumi aba aka be meet be mienu na masori dwumadie no so enti se waye crowd na o bibi ka na onem aka na preko na ansana mako uphold integrity uphold credibility, avoid distortion. Professor Opoku Agyeman to State Media. SIM registration audit reveals zero biometric match with NIA database, NCA. Mahama to meet organized labor over wages and cost of living. SIM registration to prioritize consumer protection. Sam George. Parliament approved 8.7 billion Ghana cedis allocation for the District Assembly Common Fund, DACF, for 2026. My government has nothing to hide. What you see is what you get. Mahama to organize labor. The president said reset agenda is commitment to fairness and sustainable growth. Public sector wages take 39% of Ghana's budget at enforcing. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Minya.
But Ibrahim Okankwe North.
Ibrahim from Okankwe North, Yentio.
Yeah, Mija Kanakonina, ni MP Fodina, ni Wakata Studio.
Nijoso.
Yeah, one day you see the problem now, the one down. Naka, Yakate, and then war we are, and what they hear politics. And that's why, because but if I say the previous government now, not officially, this current government, you see Russia Ukraine war, you buy the same time, and now and then Russia attitude but and then after say the BA cost year, the people when Manama. So, Emma, SIM card registration. Sam George, excuse me to my language, Sam George is a hypocrite person. Or you're a very big hypocrite. And now, on the one cafe, on the registration, wow, Pumpa, Catagonia, but you said as a member of parliament. And then senior, similar to this, I'm going to say, what's the difference? What's the difference? And then here, it's an ordinary thing for your crowd. Share how you are and what NTN. Now, another sex. Yes, I pay another taxpayers' money. Let me tell you, issue our village be. Yes, let me tell you, tree light our village be. And now, food registration because I was saying, because that's not to be war. Oh, and then you like this, a punye. And then like this, a tell I'm not going everything is expensive. And then you got from the cash up. WhatsApp 1,000 cities. I'm not going to now 700 cities. Who got the dollar for? Now we come on.
All right, and this is where to draw the curtain on today's edition of the News Focus Tonight, live and direct from our studios, where we recap all the top stories making headlines and also pick your thoughts on matters arising. My name is El Samuels. To God be the glory. Don't forget to join us same time tomorrow. We'll come your way exactly 9 to 10 p.m. Have a good night.